Welcome, guys, back to another episode of the Down to the Wire podcast series. I don't remember what episode this is. I've kind of lost track at this point. Anyways, so last night or 2 nights ago, if you're watching this, when it comes out, was the All Star Game. Um, Shark, what were your initial thoughts about the All Star Game this year?
My initial thoughts were, obviously it's going to be different because it did everything in one night, rather it opposed to be like, they would do it like on the Saturday night where like the skills challenge, 3-point contest, slam dunk. And then what I also realized is that they didn't do the Rising Stars game. So like none of the rookies got to showcase their skills. So, that was interesting. But other than that, it was pretty one sided. Team LeBron was more the dominant team than Team Durant. And then I completely agree with having Giannis being MVP because he absolutely killed it going like 16 for 16, I believe, in that game. So that right there is pretty impressive. So those right there were my initial thoughts.
All right, so we're just gonna go through stuff by stuff at night. We're just gonna go through it and just give our initial thoughts about it. So, what were your thoughts about the skills contest? I didn't personally watch it live, so I don't really have anything to say on it.
Neither did I, but I think it was DeMontis Sabonis that won the skills contest because he fell short to Bam Adebayo last year, but this year he got the win.
Um, yeah, I think it's kind of was kind of hoping just hometown boy Julius Randle was gonna win it, but he obviously fell short in the first round to Demontis Sabonis. Um, But yeah, that challenge, unless if it has a lot of good superstars, I really are, am not that interested in it. Which is how it kind of was this year. Like even though like Luca and Chris Paul was in it, everybody else, meh, not that like big of superstars. So, and it's more fun with 8 people instead of six. So then it's on. So then you have three complete rounds instead of just two bye players, which is what Chris Paul and Luca got since All Star appearances and player votes. But it's whatever. Um, then next the 3-point contest, we had Steph Curry winning it in the second round against Mike Conley. What were your thoughts on that, Shark?
It was pretty much similar to what Buddy Hield did last year when he knocked out Devin Booker. So, that right there was pretty impressive. And then Steph later showcased his 3-point shooting in the All Star game. So, he definitely deserved it after missing out on like it's been 6 years since he last won a 3-point contest because his last one was 2015.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's been a long time coming.
Um, Personally speaking about the 3-point contest, did you? I didn't. I kind of like the addition of the Mountain Dew ball that's out in like deep three. Did you like that?
Yeah, I like that, and that's what Steph used to help increase his chance of winning. So
Yeah, in the final round, he hit both opposed to the first round where he only hit one, but he got 3 points higher than what he needed for the first round, so it didn't really matter. In the end, he did win. So congrats to him, awarding his, uh, dedicating his award to Klay Thompson, who is out for the entire year. All right, so let's move on to the first half of the All Star game. Don, what are your thoughts about the first half specifically?
it's probably it was a lot of shooting, and Lillard and Curry were definitely lining it up for 3-point range,
Mm-hmm.
and then Giannis kept it perfect in that game in that first half with just dunks and I think LeBron only played 13 minutes in the All Star game and he played most of it in the first half. So yeah,
Yeah.
LeBron had to showcase his skill, but on like Team Durant, I think Jason Tatum had a good outing and Zion had a good outing in the first half. So
Yeah,
those are my
Zion
thoughts.
definitely proved that like he was meant to be there because if you know that right before the game, Jay or no, 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 Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons were forced to sit out because of COVID protocols.
Mhm.
But so they made Zion step up and take the starting position, which he did pretty well. Um, it was kind of weird to watch the All-Star game and have LeBron only score 4 points in it. So he only scored the ball twice off of dunks. And that's just
Mhm.
kind of weird because that was like the second to last or second to least most points scored in the game. I think the most or the least was like 2, and it was maybe like Domantas Sabonis. So it's kind of weird to watch LeBron not score a lot, and he played a good like 15 minutes, which is actually really weird for a person who gets the most All-Star votes. All right.
Wow.
So Dalton, were you underwhelmed like with the dunk contest like I was?
I mean, it was very underwhelming because one, all rookies.
I don't. I'm assuming I didn't know any of the players besides Obi, but
Yeah, but I think it was like mainly like rookies or second year persons. So
mhm.
he didn't honestly we know that Aaron Gordon isn't participating also in the dunk contest because he got robbed twice, especially last year. So I mean, and then you don't have like Zach Levine or or what's another high flyer like Oladipo or someone or people like that who are missing out. It was definitely very underwhelming, but they had some good dunks. I mean, the one by Anthony Simmons at the end. If he would have kissed the rim, that would have been so internet breaking.
With what I noticed about the All Star game this year is that to avoid issues with the quote unquote not being able or quote unquote snubbing games, I think they replaced every single celebrity or celebrity voter for the dunk contest with a old time player, which makes it a little bit boring because it feels like that. Oh, okay, so we just need the only way you can qualify to do this dunk contest is if you have played in the NBA and won dunk contest yourself. Which like I understand because I guess like you want people who are well knowledge on the basketball to see if they can just do it well, but then it doesn't make it fun anymore, in my opinion. I feel like that you should have some celebrities to maybe judge on it because I liked, even though he did vote a 9 on Aaron Gordon's dunk last year, he was one of the 2 that didn't, or one of the 3 that didn't vote. I think that it was definitely missing the opportunity to have some famous people come and vote on the dunk contest. But
Mhm.
all in all, I don't know. I think just having all 5 old people or old basketball players who have won the dunk contest is just a little bit boring. You kind of want to see some variety whenever you're at the dunk contest or watching it live, and that just wasn't there. I remember whenever there was like I guess whenever there was the going back and forth between, oh, did he get snubbed? Did he not last year? Because in my opinion, I think he got snubbed more in the 2016 All Star game versus the 2021.
Mhm.
Um, because if you go back to both of them in the 2021, he does kind of the same dunks over and over again, and in the dunk contest, you kind of want more of a unique variety. And
Mhm.
I think he had more of a unique variety in 2016 rather than in 2020. It's just hard to beat it's just hard to beat Zach Levine in a dunk contest, which is what his competition was. Because I think even I don't remember in the 2021 if they did, but in the 2020 or the 2016 one, they raised the hoop like an inch off the ground just because it was so hard to keep um so hard to decide between the two. Yet Zach Levine ended up winning it after. But something interesting I saw from last year whenever they were talking about how to like not snub the All-Star game. I think Rachel Nichols, she gave a pretty good idea about having the score be decided as a group. So you would still do it out of 50, but as a group you would decide, hey, is it a 50, is it like a 46, is it a 45? I think that would have been cooler because then you can decide as a group. Because then
Yeah.
if 3 people say, "Oh, I think that's a 10-worthy dunk," and 2 people will be like, "No, I don't really think so," they can talk about that, and they'll be like, "Okay, it's a 47."
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So the final part of the All-Star game, kind of, in my opinion, it wasn't as exciting as the first half. I think the second half, we were just kind of already knew that LeBron's team was bully balling, and then that they just won at the end. They just kind of it kind of got boring after a little bit because they kept just shooting 3-pointers over and over again. But that's just my opinion on it. Dalton, what do you think?
I mean, you're not wrong. It was still more the same, like just more shooting at the three ball, and Giannis was still able to keep his perfection, and then other players kind of showed up, like because I think Luca hit some threes in that second half, and then it was more of the same from the others afterwards.
Yeah. It just and then at the end, whenever the LeBron's team was up by 3, you just had literally everybody shooting threes just to try to get it in. Like I
Hmm.
think Dame took 2, I think Curry took 2, and then they just kept shooting over and over until someone got it in, and then Dame eventually got it in at the end. But I don't know. I think Durant necessarily didn't mess up with his voting. I think his team just got really, really scuffed because of how many injuries and stuff he had. Because he lost Joel Embiid, he lost Devin Booker, he lost Anthony Davis, and he didn't have himself. I think all 4 of those players would have made a big difference in the overall team score, and that would have made the game closer. Because the last 3 years with the draft, except maybe the first year when Giannis did it, I think they were all super, super close. And I'd like to see that.
Hmm.
Now, if there's a team that which team did a better draft that lost to LeBron, since LeBron has won all 4 years, I think Curry probably did the best.
Hmm.
I Because I think we knew it was going to be close, and it was close compared to all these other years, Durant and Giannis. Giannis's 2020 draft wasn't even that great. It's just his team somehow did really, really well. And I think the new form of the All-Star game kind of helped his format.
That's why it was, and that's the reason why LeBron able to pull out.
Yeah. So, Don, going on the All-Star game format, do you like it or do you not? Because I think, personally, I think that it's a little bit underwhelmed. I mean, a little bit overwhelming because I feel like that if a team is already killing it most of the game, they're going to be way ahead of the other team. And you're playing to a specific score like a pickup game, right? So, I don't know. It depends on the year if it works or if it doesn't work. And this year, I think it just didn't work.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree because like I said, it was more because Team LeBron had more of the upper hand than Team Durant, and that's why Team LeBron won pretty much all 4 quarters and dominated. And while like it was supposed to, like last year where it was actually a little intense where LeBron and Giannis won a quarter. I think that's where like it got like really interesting, and that's when it worked. I think it just comes down to like what ends up happening in the actual game because like if it went like last year and it worked out pretty well, then and hey, like good for them. But this year it really didn't work out as well as they hoped for, and that's why I don't think it was really necessarily the best idea this year.
Did I'm just trying to make sure. Did Giannis didn't draft in 2018, right?
It was
He
Curry
It
that
was
drafted
okay because I
2018.
looked it up and it said Team LeBron versus Team Giannis. I was like,
No,
that doesn't make
it
sense.
was Curry did it his first. Curry did it in
Yeah.
2018.
Curry did it 2018, Giannis did 2019, 2020, and then Durant did it 2021. All right, Dalton, if you had to choose 2 people to do next year's Cleveland draft that were not the people that did the draft this year, who would it be? And it has to be people that have not done the draft at all.
Okay, I think I think it's more. I think you make it more of like a next generation thing where where I think you do like Team Luca versus Team Tatum. I think like Luca and Jason Tatum would be good all-star captains for the drafting in Cleveland.
I like that. I do. I think personally, I think it should be kind of the people who get the lowest amount of points or lowest amount of votes, like maybe like Julius Randle versus Zion. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I think that would be kind of interesting to see people see the lowest take whatever they get, and then choose the best out of the best for their team.
Yeah.
Or I think it'd be cool to have like the coaches of each team draft the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Because the coaches kind of just have to work with what they're given, like how they do just throughout the year. But I think it'd be kind of cool if they just did it a little bit differently and decided, hey, we're gonna draft our teams and play with what we got.
Yeah,
All right, so
like that.
I think for what we have time left for today, let's just give our mid-season playoff predictions. Let's just talk about three things. All right. So, Dalton, I'm going to come up with the three topics right here on the spot. For the first one, how far do you have the Spurs going? Cuz the Spurs are 7th seed right now, and they've been doing pretty well. But do you see them going far in the playoffs? Yes or no? Keep in mind, if we were to end it right now, the 7th seed Spurs would play the Suns.
Oof. I think personally, I don't like their chances against the Suns. But I believe that they'll take them to 6 or 7 games, like because Coach Pop has been in this spot before and like knows how to his way to upset people. But at the same time, you're going up against a very good Suns team that has Paul, Booker, and Aiton, and with Chris Paul and his leadership, I think that's where it's going to take over, and the Suns will probably beat the Spurs if it was today.
I definitely agree. I just think um I don't think that Spurs team has enough talent to get past the Suns because the other day when we were doing our interview or our episode with Duggan, I feel like that we looked at the Suns roster and it was just stacked. Like I didn't even realize how stacked it was until I looked at it and I was just like, wow.
Yeah,
And they're only like 2.5 games behind the Jazz. So if the Jazz has a major slip up, the Suns could take it.
I think so. And like the Jazz were on like a losing streak heading into All Star Weekend.
Yeah, they're on a
So that
two-game losing streak, so we should definitely see what happens with that.
sure.
All right, moving on to the East. Do you think the Bucks are gonna make the conference finals?
Okay, who do they play first round?
They play
'Cause I
first
feel like
round the Heat.
I'm going to be very bold here, and I'm going to say that the Bucks are going to get shocked in the first round.
Ooh.
And here's why: because Giannis, oh yes, him and Milton are like the main, like the front men of the team. Yes, the Bucks still do have Drew Holiday and Brooke Lopez. I don't think they have what it takes, and I think, and yes, as much as I want them to get revenge on the Heat, I just don't think Giannis is gonna because like if you saw what teams did against Giannis in the playoffs, where all they knew that all he knew that he could do is drive, and then he really can't. And like once you figure him out, it's going to be very easy to stop. And the Heat have already figured him out, and that's the reason why they won. They shocked him in the semifinals last year. Now, also have to realize that with the Heat, they really haven't had the best of starts. With Jimmy Butler out, and then having Bam being like the main guy. But still, if Butler remains healthy and do what he did last year, I really do think that the Heat will upset the Bucks, and I think it will go. I think they'll for sure have to beat them in 6 or 7.
I
But
I definitely think it's gonna be close. Giannis has started to get some of a 3-point shot, so we'll see what happens now that he has that. So it'll make him
mhm,
a little bit more unstoppable. But yes, with Bam, it does give them a little bit of an upper edge because they have that paint defense. Um,
mhm,
so we'll see what happens after that. Um, but then I don't see them getting past because unless if the 76ers are still the 76ers, then they can. But you still have to get through the Celtics. You still have to get through the Knicks. Oh, the Celtics and Knicks. That's gonna be.
yeah,
Ooh. They would have to play the Nets the second round, the way we have it coming out. So,
mhm.
anyways, for my final take, do you have the 76ers or do you have the Nets making it to the finals?
That's gonna be a very intense series for sure. It's for sure gonna go at least 6 or 7 games. I think that if Brooklyn, it depends because with Brooklyn, they still have 3 All-Stars. Well, not technically 4 with like Blake Griffin,
Mm-hmm.
even though he didn't even play the All-Star game. But it depends on who they lose. Like if they lose Kyrie and like Harden and Durant could still carry them. But with 76ers, they had the big man of Joel Embiid, who's been absolutely dominant. And with the Nets not really having a big man, it could really
Don't
it really
forget they do have Deandre Jordan, who has been playing somewhat decent this year.
that's right. How about DeAndre Jordan? But yeah, I mean, but DeAndre Jordan isn't like all-star. Like he wasn't what he was when he was with Lob City.
No, but
I was trying to say, but
he does get 8 boards per game. So,
that's pretty good. But
and
personally,
if you put Blake Griffin into a system where he can actually catch more lobs now, because Kyrie Irving's gonna throw him lobs, because if Kyrie threw LeBron lobs, he's gonna throw Blake Griffin lobs,
sure.
and that's kind of how Blake Griffin's game for what we know him as is that he just kind of catches lobs, and if Kyrie can give him the good pass game as well as James Harden, who's been averaging great stats this year, and especially in the assist category, then I think
Mhm.
that team will be fine. I really don't like saying it because I don't like the Nets now, but I think that team will be fine if they can continue to play the way that they're doing, not have issues in the locker room, and utilize both DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin for what we know them as, or what we knew them before.
Yep. And with I think it also does come down to coaching too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like with Steve Nash, young coach, his first year. You know, if he can like figure out like how to manage them, then I definitely think that it will take them over the hump. And I definitely think that with that they will beat Philadelphia with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, and yeah, they probably beat them in 6 or 7 games. So I say the Nets.
All right. So that is our small takes for playoff predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Down to the Wire. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like. Comment down below what you might want to see coming out of Down to the Wire, and maybe just out of the basketball channel in general. We're looking to expand on our content soon, so we're gonna try to do that. Make sure you follow our socials for Season Snatch and just our socials by itself. Just come back every Tuesday and Thursday, or at least sometime that week, each week, so you can make sure that you don't miss an episode. And we shall see y'all next time. Peace.